Well, we've come down to DCCL headquarters with me, Mr. Black, and the Minister. So you've got what you wanted. You got them to go on strike, and you're going to sort it all out.
No, it's not what we wanted. We did not want to have a strike. So I'd like to make that quite clear from the start. We didn't want to strike. We have been trying to negotiate with our staff for almost a year now to try and get within our budget to deal with these paid meal breaks.
It can look like it. I know there's been negotiation going on, but you haven't met in the middle. You've been making alternative plans by putting up temporary platforms down in Castletown. Everything is looking like you were prepared for them to go on strike.
Well, I think we'd be equally criticised not for preparing to go out on strike because we would only get 7 days' notice. So we have to prepare, and I think the noises that we've been getting from the union regarding the ballots, regarding the offers, was actually pointing us in the direction that they would be looking to go out on strike.
Okay. Who's running this operation? Is it you, or is your chief executive here?
Nick is actually doing negotiations with Ian Longworth. The department has a policy that we have to get within our budget. Our budget has been set, the Treasury has set that for us, and we have to stay within that. Okay. So it's a joint.
Right, Mr. Black, take us through some of this negotiation, because I'm confused. It seemed a couple of times that they were agreeing to what you wanted, but then it wasn't put to the members. And now you've got the actual ballot, and they all said no to it. This current flavour, confusion maybe from the public point of view. Can you put any light on what happened?
Yes, I think that we've been negotiating since March, and clearly that's been a process where we've had to give and move and try and find a solution. That's what negotiation's about. We've had agreement from the union representatives that an offer is good enough to put to the men on a number of occasions, but when it's been put to the men, there hasn't been the support for it that the representatives hoped would actually be achieved. So clearly that's disappointing, where you think you've got a solution and then it doesn't work out to be a solution for everybody. But if the members don't agree it, the members don't agree it, and I understand the position that puts people in. We, I think, have been very flexible. Yes, we've made it very clear we have to stay within the savings target we've been set. We have to reduce our costs, just like other departments have to reduce theirs, and we identified a £300,000 saving in our bus operations, bus operations being the department's biggest cost in its total budget. And we wanted to achieve that by removing the paid lunch break, which we feel is unjustifiable and unaffordable in the current climate. And indeed, we've looked around government and it's a real struggle to find anyone who gets a paid lunch break, and I suspect the same is entirely true in the private sector.
Well, they said the opposite. They said it was quite common. I mean, that's the interview that I got from them, but
I don't think anybody I know has one. Right. And if you know people who do, then by all means correct me, Paul, but I don't know people who get a paid lunch break. I certainly don't get a paid lunch break, and I'm pretty confident the Minister doesn't get a paid lunch break. However, moving on, we did say, look, that's what we think the easiest way to make the saving is for everyone. We're not challenging the rates of pay, we're not challenging the premium pay, it's the paid lunch break, but we'll take other offers. And those could have been efficiency savings. So we talked about longer driving periods, we've talked about giving up some of the sick pay benefits, we've talked about a huge raft of things.
The Spanish practices, as people can refer to it as.
The label, yeah, absolutely. The fact that you can book going to medical appointments at certain times, and that means that you don't have a return to work. So there's a whole range of things. There's travelling time paid in certain circumstances. And we've managed to agree a lot of those with the union. So there is an acceptance that we need to move on. But what we haven't yet done is found a complete package that is acceptable to the drivers and makes the savings. There are elements that work. So that's why we're meeting them again on Tuesday, because it's got to be worth trying again. So I shall be back there with the union, with my colleagues and with the union's negotiating team, trying to find a way of putting all these different pieces together in a way that's acceptable to the drivers, but also is acceptable to us, and it must meet the total savings. Okay. But that's the difficulty.
Right, well, we'll have more about this in our next section of, obviously, what's going to be quite an extended interview here today.